Amitabha. Good evening, everybody. This evening, we are honored to invite the abbot of the Abhagiri Buddhist Monastery, Venerable Luang Pasanno, to give us Dharma talk. I believe most of us are familiar with Venerable Luang Pasanno, who is the City of 10,000 Buddhas old friend and supports CTTB in many ways. So the Abhagiri Buddhist Monastery and the City of 10,000 Buddhas are just like brothers. Since the time is precious, let us listen to Venerable Luang Pasanno's Dharma talk respectfully. Amitabha.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ Dhammaṃ Sanghaṃ Namasami. So I'm very honored to be able to speak with you all, and a bit intimidated to sit up here, actually. I'd been told that this was the Venerable Master's seat, and the only other person who's used it is Luang Pasanno. So, but it's I think as Dharma Master Hanglu mentioned, it feels like we're brothers, and feels certainly the monastery and the connection between the monasteries are like family, and that is a wonderful connection to have, and particularly we've been hosted by all of you here at City of 10,000 Buddhas, and have been looking after us this past week because we were truly homeless. You know, like when we ordain as bhikkhus, one of the meanings of the word bhikkhu is that you're homeless, but we were really homeless. We were having to flee from the monastery to escape the fires, and Dharma Master Hanglu graciously invited us to come and stay here, and there's 26 of us, and of course for us, I mean that's our monastery is full, but on a certain level, come here and 26, and we just sort of kind of melt in, and it's such a large community, and quite so I've been amazed at how say smoothly or seemingly easily. The city of 10,000 Buddhas has accommodated our whole community, and we're all extremely grateful um, for your for your generosity in receiving us and looking after us. And so we've definitely felt at home, and we've been able to um, participate in some of the events of the city, morning chantings, evening chanting, pujas, and meal blessings, and so it's felt very special, and it's also felt that it was an extension or a continuation of our practice and training. It wasn't so much of leaving the monastery and being just adrift, and not really having an anchor. The City of 10,000 Buddhas helped to give us an anchor when we didn't have an actual physical place to live in. And so that's it's a real gift, it's a real blessing. So that we've been able to can have this as a continuity, this opportunity, this time as a continuity of our practice and training. So being in a training place, being in an atmosphere of training, living the Dhamma, practicing the Dhamma, there's been a continuity for all of us from Abhayagiri, and that's something that and I don't know the teachings of Master Hua so well, but of course at lunchtime in listening to the teachings, and the flavor is so much Ajahn Chah. It's just really delightful, and so and one of the things that aspects of training that Ajahn Chah used to emphasize a lot is like a continuity of practice. So it's not as if you just practice in some kind of gung-ho fashion for a little spurt here and there, to really taste the fruits of practice. One needs to have a consistency, a steadiness, and a continuity of practice. And so that, say, for us, leaving the monastery, our practice place, and being able to be here and maintain a continuity of practice, that's been very, very helpful. And I think it's again, it's sort of I'm sure that Master Hua in his teachings emphasized a similar aspect or a need in this practice of the Dhamma, that there does need to be continuity, there does need to be consistency. So for our coming here, and then of course we will be able to go back to our monastery. We do have a monastery to go back to, which was not a sure thing. When I first started hearing about the fires, I was away. I was helping one of the Ajahn Chah monasteries is a new branch monastery in New Hampshire, and I got this frantic text message asking me whether and it said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear this terrible news. I hope you're safe. And I had to send a message back, sort of saying, "Well, I'm really enjoying myself out here. What am I supposed to be safe from? What's happening?" So then, I said, "Well, there's fire all around," and then I started looking at the news, and yeah, it was very concerning. And you could knowing that the whole monastery had evacuated, and all of that I got word. I didn't have direct contact with the monastery, people from the monastery, because all the cell phone service, the internet service, the data lines were all down for Mendocino County. So I was getting my news from England and Wisconsin and Thailand. And people from all around the world were sort of watching, and I wasn't getting any news from the people on the ground. So it was an interesting period of time. And so it wasn't a sure thing that there was going to be a monastery to go back to. And of course, that's a practice as well. We've been having a building project going on in the bike area for those people who've been come out. You see, there's been this building project going on like almost 5 years now, and we're almost finished. I invited Luang Liam to come next June for the opening ceremony, and I said, well, maybe it's not going to be an opening ceremony, and maybe it'll be something else. And so it wasn't, again, the sense of not a sure thing. And these are truths that, of course, the Buddha is saying we have to contemplate all the time. We have to reflect and investigate because it's such a human habit to want certainty. We want things to be certain. We want things to be secure, and obviously we need to try to provide a kind of stability within us, and a stability without, in terms of as a gift to others. But it's so important to keep that constant recollection that there really isn't anything that is sure. It's a certainty that you can, which doesn't mean that you don't do anything. You commit to doing all sorts of goodness and keeping the principles of Dharma. But you also have to reflect the world that we live in, both the external world, the internal world of our thoughts, our emotions. These are changing. They're unsure. So it's when we keep internalizing that, and this is what one of the qualities in our chanting, Theravada chanting, when we reflect on the qualities of the teachings of the Dharma, it's something that we have to, in the scriptural language, it's what is called leading inwards. So we have to draw it inwards. We have to lead it into the heart, because that's where the Dhamma is. It isn't in the books. It isn't in the scriptures. The Dhamma is in these human hearts of ours, and it's our ability to know and understand and see clearly. That's essential. So this establishing of right view is, as we continue our training and our practice, we always have to be reflecting on establishing right view. And there's a well-known story with when a group of Western meditators and Western meditation teachers went to pay respects to Ajahn Chah. And they said, we've been practicing Buddhism for quite some time. We actually have been teaching Buddhism. We've been teaching others about right view. But what's right view? And Ajahn Chah's response was to lift up a glass that was next to him and say, well, right view is knowing that this is a broken glass. I think, wow. And you think, well, right now it's not broken. He said, right now it's not broken, but in its nature, it's already broken. That impermanence, that uncertainty, that changefulness is inherent in its very nature. So that knowing that it's a broken glass, even when it's made from plastic, which you think is indestructible, it's still gonna break, or something's gonna happen, or it gets put on a hot stove and it melts. I mean, there's any number of things, and it displays its impermanence and it's falling apart. But the other aspect of that, in terms of right view, is that it's not that because it's impermanent, you don't take care of it, or because it's impermanent, you don't keep it clean and look after it. This is an important principle, because sometimes people think that Buddhism is either a nihilistic teaching or a just kind of not caring about anything. But it's because you recognize the fragility of it, its inherent almost, it's inherent kind of pathetic nature, in a sense. It's really, it really is just a broken glass. But that doesn't mean you don't care for it, you look after it. It's so important to do that. And And so that it actually motivates us more, to be more caring. And I think this is where these aspects of wisdom and compassion go together. In that there's that clear discernment, clear understanding, but that doesn't make one aloof and non-feeling. There is that care and compassion that is an essential part of our response to the world. And so that in this, but also in having recognizing its broken nature, its fragile nature, then one isn't constantly, say, falling apart because it's so painful. The wisdom is always there to understand its true nature and to not be caught up in the overwhelming, say, emotional reaction to what is fragile or what is insecure and uncertain. So it's really important that there's these qualities of balance always supporting each other, and that's something that say, when we talk about the middle way of Buddhism, it's not an intellectual, philosophical middle way. It's a middle way that is one of constantly feeling and investigating and being able to establish oneself in this sense of balance and evenness. And it's that reflecting on the fragile nature of our existence. And Abhayagiri Monastery is a fragile, impermanent, uncertain entity. City of 10,000 Buddhas is as well. It's in its very nature, but it needs to be looked after. It needs to be cared for, and I think that certainly we went to take a look at the monastery today. Just a few of us, because today is the first day that we're letting people into the area where the monastery is, and as we were going into Redwood Valley and going along the roads that approach Abhayagiri, the devastation was really kind of catastrophic. It was really there's a tremendous amount of damage. A lot of people were are going to be dealing with the loss of their homes and their all of their possessions for a long time. But as we approached the monastery, and then it was quite. I mean, one, we got there as we went into the monastery, as was probably, I don't know, 12 to 15 trucks, fire trucks there. There's probably 50 to 100 firefighters on the property working, and so it was actually quite it was like we sort of gone away for a weekend vacation and came back, you know. And it was clean. That was just weird. We went in, and I expected, you know, a lot of ash and you know, debris all over the place. But it was, you know, it was this come into it, so really still and quiet, and it was green all around the area. I mean, it's the fall, so it wasn't green, but it wasn't burned. And you could see where the fires had come all around, and just really on all three sides. And so we were very fortunate, and it felt like, definitely, you know, the Dharma protectors were there, and the devas really wanted to see it there, and not see it damaged. And there was Ajahn Jodhipala went up to take some pictures at one of the cabins and to see try to get a better angle of see what's happened on the land, and there was a couple of firefighters there, and one of the firefighters actually said it's really strange because it felt like the land was protecting itself, where the fire had come down from the top, come around the side, but it was being protected. So it was very touching, and I'm sure that firefighters, they're not the kind of woo-woo, new agey types, you know, but they felt something, and that was really, it was quite touching. I mean, we've got a few new, roads in the monastery where they just bulldoze from the top right down to the creek to try to do fire breaks. We only had a short time, so we didn't see how much they've done there, but there's one of the cabins is there's like this bulldoze and right between like a walking meditation path and the little hut, and just half of the walking path is gone. There's just this 10-foot swath going down. It goes all, you can see it just going all the way down to the creek. So, but it'll grow back, and it was part of the process of really trying to protect it. So I think the firefighters did a tremendous job in protecting it. But yeah, I think the devas were working overtime also. Going up to there's a lot of smoke when you get up to close to the monastery. I think my throat is really scratchy from all the smoke today. But I wasn't not going to go up there and see it, and the smoke will go away as well. So, and my throat will get better. That's the other aspect of impermanence. It isn't just impermanence in a bad way. You know, that things were good and then they got worse. They're also impermanent in the sense of, yeah, well, things can get really bad, but then they can get better. And so it's not, it doesn't go one, it goes both ways. And but then of course, the foundation of the Buddha's teachings, again, reflecting on right view. Foundation of right view is really understanding the central piece of one of the central pieces of the Buddha's teachings of karma, that there is action, and karma is just the verb. It's the verb to do. You do something, something results from that. So it's not particularly mystical or retributional. It's just a very simple process of nature, that when we do something by body, speech, or mind, a result takes place. And when that's the reality, then it's our responsibility as practitioners that we understand the nature of that, what we do, what karma we invest in, so that we're able to elicit a result that is satisfying to us, that is actually brings about a sense of happiness and well-being, peace, and that's something that we can do. And if we don't understand the process, or if we don't pay attention to the process, then we end up being just dragged along by events outside of us, or dragged along by our habitual tendencies inside, our internal habits. So, understanding karma, and so that's why there's so much effort put into our developing skillful action, because when we're just reciting mantras, it's a way better use of our minds and our verbalization than what normally goes through our minds and comes out our mouth. So that using mantras to elicit, like I've only been in the city of 10,000 Buddhas for 5 or 6 days now, but mantras are going through. I go back to my dwelling place and go through the day, and the mantras are going through. They just start to, you absorb them and they seep in, and you have to. But that's also something you have to protect. How do we keep that going so that the heart, the mind is uplifted? Because it's, again, the habit will tend to drift off and create some kind of proliferation, worry, fear, excitement, anything to distract us from being peaceful and clear. I mean, there's something it's kind of disturbing when you actually contemplate it. Why does my mind do such stupid things? Sort of like, rationally, it does not make sense to get caught in some obsession of worry, or get caught in some irritation, or keep trying to get something and that is just it's a momentary hit of pleasure, and then it's gone, but we keep chasing it, and so that really sort of understand. And again, that's why that consistency is so important, the steadiness of practice, because it helps to wear away those habits, and we really start to see how the mind changes in a really wholesome way, where the mind, the heart really starts to brighten. And a lot of it is just clearing the way. It's like, it isn't as if we make our mind be pure, or make our mind be bright and radiant. It's more that we relinquish and release the things that clutter the mind and obstruct the radiance of the mind, that obstruct the peace of the mind, the clarity of the mind. It's there all the time. So a lot of practice is just learning how to get out of the way. We keep getting in the way of ourselves with our ideas, with our habits, with our preferences. So just learning how to get out of the way and let truth manifest, let peace and clarity manifest. And again, that's why this is learning how to think, oh man, it's just so boring to go to chant these mantras and walk back and forth, but what we're doing, because that's what the whining mind comes up with, but the mind that is interested in training and interested in relinquishing its habits, that's the avenue for getting out of the way of the things that are obstructive and allowing the radiance of the heart to manifest. And it's there for all of us. It isn't as if it's and that's why the Buddha's teaching is always, it isn't doesn't matter if one is young or old, or whether one is say a Westerner or is Asian. It doesn't matter what one's education is. What it matters is one's interest and your willingness to just, because the human heart is really the same. And learning how to plug into these fundamental truths, and I think that's something that Venerable Master Schuon recognized. Otherwise, he wouldn't have bothered to come to America. And he came to America because he really felt that there was an opportunity to establish a place of practice, giving the opportunity for people to enter into the Dhamma, the Dharma that the Buddha taught, and the Dharma that the Buddha manifested. So that your practice is sort of upholding the vision of the Venerable Master, and it manifests in many different ways. One, your consistency of having the pujas, having the practice, having the ceremonies, having the practice sessions, and just your natural generosity. It just comes out because generosity and virtue, those are, sometimes it's easy for people to think that say the Buddha's teaching is you've got to learn a lot of philosophy or a lot of you've got to memorize all sorts of sutras. But it's not about that. It's about just the fundamental generosity, virtue, clarity of the human heart. It's learning how to take care of that. And I say it doesn't matter whether we're young or old, whether we're male or female, whatever. It's like, remember Ajahn Chah sort of saying, it doesn't really matter, young people suffer like young people, old people suffer like old people, educated people suffer like educated people, not so well educated people suffer like not so well educated people. It's just without Dhamma, then we keep suffering. It doesn't matter which way, whatever our basis is. But of course, that's what the teachings are. These opportunity for us to free ourselves from obstructions, free ourselves from whatever suffering, to taste the fruits. And it was again, listening to the teachings at lunchtime of the Venerable Master. And we really wanted people to experience the fruits of the practice, and his kind of compassion really shines through. So just to encourage all of us to take his example and take the that recognition that we do have the capacity to understand and experience the Dhamma, and certainly all the conditions are sufficient here. I wish you all for you to experience the fruits, and I also want to express on behalf of the whole Abhayagiri community, express my gratitude and appreciation for all of your welcoming us and caring for us and looking after us.
This evening, we have learned a lot from the Venerable Pasanno's Dharma talk, such as his modesty and humor, and also consistency of practice and reality of life impermanence, karma, and how to practice wisely, etc. We should put it then into practice in our daily lives. And also, we are very grateful to him for his kindness to give us such a wonderful Dharma talk. The founder of the City of 10,000 Buddhas, Venerable Master Hua, always told us the South tradition and the North tradition should support and learn from each other. Today, the fact of the Abhayagiri Buddhist monastery and the City of 10,000 Buddhas have verified his point. We all are Buddha's disciples and members of Buddha's family. Now we are going to do the transference of Mary from this wonderful event and to all living beings, especially those living beings who are affected by these wildfires, and wish they may attain bliss and live suffering. So we are going to do the transference now. You may find the verse of transferring Mary on page 144 in our resolution book. And after that, we will bow in respect to Venerable Pasanno for his kindness. Okay, let's do the transference. Please sit down. You may find the verse is on transference on page 144. 愿以是功德庄严佛净土，上报十重恩，下济三途苦。若有见闻，悉发菩提心，尽此一大乘，同生极乐国。All in respect to Venerable Luang Pasanno. Thank you for coming, Amitabha.